Ranbir Kapoor as Ram versus Yash as Ravan. Hans Zimmer and A.R. Rahman doing the score. The biggest VFX company in the world doing the visuals for the biggest, most riskiest, most expensive projects to come out of India after what we all went through in 2023. The first glimpse of the Ramayana movies has just dropped, but please save one seat for Om Raut because this is how you do it. At the same time, I have a lot of questions. Why is a VFX company producing a film like Ramayana? Who is Namit Malhotra? Why is Rajamouli not a part of this project? Why is there so much hate against Sai Pallavi? What will this film do to Ranbir Kapoor's career? How is it going to change Indian cinema? And will this film make us take that one big risk that we are trying to avoid for the longest time? Today, we're going to go deep into each of these questions. And the first question that we're starting with is, why is a VFX company producing a film like Ramayana? For those who don't know, this epic is going to be produced not by Yashraj, not by Dharma, not by Hambale, not any of our biggest production houses. The upcoming Ramayana films are going to be produced by DNEG, which is one of the world's leading VFX companies, and if you need proof, they have 8 Oscars in their cupboard for all their work for Interstellar, Inception, Dune. Think of the most visually stunning films ever, and DNEG has been there, done that. But is that enough to produce India's most expensive film ever? Is it enough to add their CEO Namit Malhotra's name to the title itself? When I was reading about the journey of DNEG and what they're trying to do now, it just reminded me of Pushpa. Pushpa starts as a laborer, uses his intelligence and his skills to smuggle that red sandalwood, proves that he's more than just a laborer, demands with his employers to be treated as equal, gets partnership, and then rises and rises and rises to become the ruler of that empire that he once used to serve. Since DNEG started in 1998, like every other VFX companies, they have been service providers. Even though the skills they have are the biggest assets of big budget films like this, especially in the case of Indian productions, they are not given the time and respect that they deserve. I don't have to tell you the names, but most Indian movies are planned pretty badly, and filmmakers and producers just dump whatever that they've shot on the VFX companies and they expect them to deliver world-class VFX in like 3 weeks. You also have late payments, cash flow issues, and because of all of this, VFX companies have to work extra hard. They have to work extra time under horrible timelines. Because of this, the team undergoes burnout, and the end result is obviously going to be something like this. And if this happens, producers and filmmakers publicly blame and shame these VFX companies instead of taking any responsibility themselves. Maybe at some point, DNEG and Namit Malhotra sat down and they would have thought, enough is enough, I'm the captain now. I want to own the IP, I want full creative control from day one. I'll make the highest quality product with the highest quality VFX that the world has ever seen. I'm going to give it the pre and post-production time that it really deserves. And whether it's Ranbir Kapoor or Yash or Hans Zimmer or A.R. Rahman, I'm going to bring the biggest names in the business to help me achieve this vision. If you didn't know already, the shooting of the first part has already wrapped up, and DNEG has more than 1.5 years of post-production time until the first film hits on Diwali 2026. And this is only possible because of a VFX company taking the biggest bet of their lives on themselves. And this is also the reason why even a small glimpse looks so immersive, so spectacular. Why is Rajamouli absent from this film? When you're making the country's most expensive film about the most sensitive epic at a budget of more than 835 crores, you can think of only one man to do the job. S.S. Rajamouli. It makes total sense, right? He gave us films like Bahubali and RRR. He knows scale, he knows myth. He made a waterfall jump look iconic. He unleashed wild animals on a British dinner party. If anyone had to handle an 835 crore Ramayana, it has to be him. Maybe because he's busy with the Mahesh Babu project, maybe the budget didn't work out, maybe the schedules didn't work out. But for whatever reason, now we have Nitesh Tiwari directing the film, and he may seem like an odd choice because he's not known for VFX spectacles. But here's the twist. He's actually perfect if you're making a Ramayana that's not just about giant CGI battles, but also about emotion, relationships, and values. And he's proven this especially with Dangal and Chichore, and let's just pretend that Bawal never happened. Think of it like this. Rajamouli is the king of myth and scale. Nitesh is the guy for human storytelling within that scale. I think Namit Malhotra and DNEG were like, we'll bring the spectacle, you bring the soul. So no, it's not a downgrade, it's just a different approach. Rajamouli might have made a fire-breathing Hanuman. Nitesh might just make you cry over Sita's silence. Rajamouli's Ramayana might have been a war film. Nitesh's Ramayana could end up being a poem. At the end of the day, the story chooses the storyteller. And speaking of the story, why is the writer of Pathaan and Tiger 3 writing Ramayana? I actually tried listing down all the possible screenwriters who could take up a massive project like this, but the sad thing is there's only one name that I can think of, and it's none other than S.S. Rajamouli's father himself, K.V. Vijayendra Prasad, the man who made Rajamouli and his filmography. So when you hear that the man who's known for writing mostly Yashraj spy thrillers like War, Pathaan, Tiger 3 is going to be writing the screenplay for Ramayana, it can be a bit confusing, but what we don't realize is not many writers in our country are capable of writing big budget commercial films, which is an art in itself. So is Sridhar Raghavan the best in the game? Maybe, maybe not. But the man knows structure. His superpower is taking huge stories with great stakes and making them as exciting and as cinematic as the boundaries of Bollywood would allow them to exist. And let's be real, Ramayana is massive, dozens of characters, gods, demons, politics, and a hell lot of emotion. If you don't have a writer who can pace it like a mainstream blockbuster, it's either going to drag or it's going to end up like... Why is there so much hate against Sai Pallavi as Sita? Sai Pallavi cannot play Sita. This is what one section of the internet is saying after the first glimpse of Ramayana just dropped, because they think she's too earthy, she's not glamorous, she does not look like a goddess. Okay bro, but what does a goddess look like? Deepika, Alia, Kiara, Dua Lipa? If the producers of the most expensive Indian film wanted, they have 800 crores in their bank account and they could have just pointed at any of these actresses, GPA'd them and got them to play the lead role. But for some reason, they went with Sai Pallavi for Sita. Maybe because choosing an actor to play a character is not purely about looks, especially a character who is such an important part of our culture. Maybe the basic requirement is that you need an actor who can act. Someone who can bring out the virtues of the character through her performance. Simplicity, elegance, inner strength, grace. Someone who can bring out all of this with just her eyes alone. Pain, love, pride, restraint, whatever you need, her eyes understand the assignment. I have nothing against any actress that I've mentioned or not mentioned, but before doubting Sai Pallavi, please go check out her filmography and what she's done with every single role. From Premam to Shyam Singha Roy to Love Story to Gargi to that final scene in Amaran. Sai Pallavi brings exactly that kind of raw emotional honesty without ever overacting. And Sita's story is one long emotional battle, whether it's exile, abduction or rejection. You need someone who can make you feel all of that without saying much. The fact that the makers chose someone like Sai Pallavi to play Sita means that this version of Sita is not about fantasy, it's about soul. I'm not saying this because I'm one of the earliest members of the Sai Pallavi fan club, but my prediction is, when the film comes out, we're all going to realize that this is one of the greatest casting decisions for a film of a scale like this. And she's going to gracefully eat all those negative opinions for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So if you're hating the casting right now, maybe the issue isn't her. Maybe it's your idea of what Sita should look like. What will the Ramayana film do to Ranbir Kapoor's career? Since he debuted with Savarya in 2007, Ranbir has been called the next superstar. In the last 18 years, he's pulled off such a wide variety of roles, from Barfi to Rockstar to Tamasha to Sanju, and still, he even said this in an interview that he's tired of still being called the next superstar. He felt his career had stagnated and that he had to do something radical, something different, take a big risk and do something that scares him. Which is why he said yes to a film like Animal. If we go back, the first title teaser of Animal came with just a background score and Ranbir's monologue, and the second last words that appear on screen were the words superstar Ranbir Kapoor. There are a million ways that Animal could have gone completely wrong. It could have been the most trolled film of all time, but it's seen a certain amount of success whether you like it or hate it. What happened as a result is that the film became like a slingshot to Ranbir's career, from stardom to superstardom. And the immediate next film that he chooses to do is a role exactly opposite to that of Animal, Lord Ram. He's flipping his entire screen image, and that's risky. He knows this is going to be one of the most judged performances of all time. But the peace and the calmness that a character like Ram needs, Ranbir's eyes have it, and I'm sure he can pull it off. And if he pulls it off, he proves that he has range like no one else. If the film works, Ranbir becomes a part of pop culture that goes beyond box office. His face will become the face of Ram for an entire generation beyond borders. How is this going to change Indian cinema? Every year, I have this habit of going to this Wikipedia page of highest grossing films of that year. And when I go through the list, most of the films are Hollywood films with one or two films which I've never heard of. And these are obviously Chinese films. This year, at number one place is this Chinese film called Ne Zha, which crossed about $2.2 billion. 2023 had Full River Red and Wandering Earth 2. 2022 had Battle at Lake Changjin 2. So every year, there's at least one Chinese film that goes beyond the barriers and competes with all of these Hollywood films. And as the largest producer of films in this world, and as an audience who watches a majority of these films every year, I want at least one Indian film to make it to this list. I want our answer to a Dune or a Lord of the Rings. And if one film makes it, I'm sure there are going to be many, many more. If everything goes well with the firepower of the biggest VFX company in the world and a name like Hans Zimmer attached, there is a super high chance of the Ramayana film traveling beyond borders, unlocking foreign distribution from day one, going big in the US and Chinese markets, and maybe the way films are made in this country may start changing. An actor like Yash choosing to become one of the producers in such a massive, risky project will maybe inspire other creators to take bigger bets and shoot for the skies. With Bahubali and RRR, Rajamouli laid the bricks. And with the Ramayana, we may have a chance of building a castle. And with that, we come to the final two questions which I need you guys to answer. 1. Will the Ramayana work? And 2. If yes, will we get to make the Mahabharata?